Hey, how's it going? I'm Ben. This is my dog, Bougie. She's a corgi. She's a real cutie. She's 4 months old. She weighs just over 5.5 pounds now. I recently got into sewing, and I wanted to make something for my dog. So I made this quilt for her. It was my first introduction into quilting. No idea what I was doing, but I think this turned out pretty well. I wanted to challenge myself. And I also made one for my cat, but I don't think she cared too much about this one. So I made myself a tie the other day, all from scratch, sewed it myself, was very proud of it, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make myself another tie, and I'm gonna match myself with my dog. I'll make her a bandana. So let's get started with that. First order of business was to just cut out this pattern, and I'm cutting on top of 2 layers of fabric. One's going to be the lining for the inside, and then one side will be the exterior. And I just have these 2 complementing patterns. And once these patterns are all cut out, we'll see what we have 4 strips of fabric now. Here we'll see what the other one looks like. There you go, they look nice. So we're gonna line up to make one longer tie because we can't cut out the full length of a tie in a piece of fabric. We do have to attach 2 strips, and we're gonna attach them on this weird angle. I haven't done any sewing previously before in my life, just these 2 quilts, and I'm still getting really used to the sewing machine. I really like these clips, they're a lot easier to handle than the pins, at least I think so. So there you go, and once you fold it out, that 45-degree angle is going to give you a straight tie. And we're just going to fold the lining too, and we'll sew that together. Okay, once we have both the linings done, we just need to do a little bit of trimming. Quickly zip these things off. There you go. I'm not going to need those anymore. Now, somewhere along the line, my sewing or my cutting didn't add up, so I had to retrim these to size, which is no big deal. There's a lot of wiggle room in making these ties. We're just going to sew the tips, both the front and the back, or like both ends of the tie. We're going to make one big V. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now we're just going to trim off the excess. We don't want big, bulky, saggy ties. We want nice, slim, well-fitted ties. This tie would probably cost you $20 at the store, which albeit is how much I paid for the fabric, but at least I made this. Not supporting shady fabrication practices in other countries, I suppose. So once those tips are all sewn together, fold them together, and make sure that the exterior face is the one that you're folding on top of. So this blue pattern, the primarily blue one that is being covered, that's going to be the visible side, because we're going to have to flip this tie inside out. we're just going to sew all the way down. Doing this was a little tricky. When you cut out the fabric for the pattern here, it's important to cut it at a 45-degree angle. That way, the fabric has a little bit of pull to it. It makes it easier to handle. Now, just to trim off and bring that seam allowance down a little bit. We don't need so much bulk. Especially after we're going to iron this, we don't want to have a seam down the center of it, or a little bulk on the inside. So that will be prominent. You'll see that through the tie. There you go. All cut out. All lined. It's pretty much finished. We'll just have to turn it inside out. To do that, we're just going to use a safety pin. And I'm going to attach it to a dowel. Or I'm going to run the dowel through first, and then tape the heck out of it. And now this is the hardest part, but just pulling it through itself, it takes a lot of force and some time. It likes to get snagged on itself. There you go, the final little bit. So after a quick iron, you're left with this tie. I like these ties. They turn out really well. They're not heavy, they're not bulky, they're easy to tie, plenty of length. There you go. And to compare for the one that I made the other day, excellent. So that's how you make a tie. And you can use any fabric you want, any material. But let's make a bandana for the dog that matches. We're just gonna have to measure the collar. Both length and width. So we're going to have to make it to size. Now, the only part of this that I didn't film was actually cutting out this piece of fabric. Not a big deal, it's just pretty much a big triangle, where one side is the length of her collar, with a little bit of seam allowance. It pretty much is a triangle with a bit more on one side. And we're going to fold it into a double seam. So just fold a 1/4 inch and then fold another 1/4 inch. All right, and now we're going to take the width of the collar, fold it amongst itself. So So we can kind of give ourselves a little estimate of where that needs to be. It needs to have enough room that the whole collar, the clip itself, will be able to slide on in. And I'll tell you something. I messed this one up. I sewed it together, and it was too tight. I couldn't get the collar in. So all that work I put in was for nothing, but I managed to whip together another one real quick. That was correct. There you go, that's pretty much how you make a bandana. So let's test it. Surprise, it doesn't fit. That's me taking a deep breath and realizing my mistake. Let's see if I can force it in. Nope, not gonna happen, Ben. You're gonna have to do another one. Thought maybe if I just push a little harder. Oh, that's right. There you go. Whip together a new one, did it even faster. And this is the matching tie. I think they both turned out great. Both homemade, made with love, in patterns that I really like, fabrics. So I'll just feed that through the collar. I had to open the collar a little bit more to increase its size a little bit because that extra fabric kind of made the circumference of my dog's neck a little too tight now. So loosen it up, put it on her, put on my tie, we'll go for a walk. Show the world that we're bad. So what a cutie. She loves it. She's been wearing it non-stop ever since. I think she's a big fan of it too. She looks like a bandana girl. There she is. In her Cosmos bed. With her pretty quilt and a great bandana. So anyway, that's been everything. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make my dog and I match. And I'll be doing it again soon.
Oh, don't you like how
Thanks for
much
watching.
we match? Oh dear.